We're called to order now. We have a very limited time, so we're going to run on a tight schedule. Representative Susan Estes calling us to order. I'm going to turn the gavel over to Senator Erickson for bill introductions for her committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So good to see everyone here today. On the Senate side, are there bill introductions? Senator Owens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll always be a representative at heart. Madam Chair, for introduction into the Senate, I would request 25 RS 0835. And this legislation is intended to eliminate anti-Semitism in Kansas educational institutions.
Are there any objections to the introduction of this bill? Seeing none, that bill is introduced. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Are there other bill introductions? Senator Shane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you'll bear with me, I have 4. So the first one is 25 RS 0723. And this is an act concerning the Attorney General relating to duties and responsibilities of the Attorney General and granting concurrent authority to prosecute crimes related to education.
Are there any objections to that bill being introduced? Seeing none, it is introduced.
The next is 25 RS 0500. And this is an act concerning education relating to employment files of teachers.
Are there any objections to that bill being introduced? Seeing none, please continue.
25 RS 0612. And this is an act concerning school districts relating to school district budgeting and accounting.
Are there objections? Seeing none, you may continue.
And 25 RS 0780. And this is also an act concerning school districts relating to school district budgeting and accounting.
Senators, are there any objections to those bills being introduced? Seeing none, those are introduced. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. We'll now do bill introductions for the House. Do I have any bill introductions? No, Senator Thomas, you are no longer Representative Thomas. We miss you. Hope you're doing well in the Senate. We sent you over very well, House trained. So thank you. I'm sorry, that was, I can't believe y'all laughed at that. I'm so cornball. So we have no bill introductions. We're going to move right to Dr. Frank Harwood with Kansas Department of Education. He's going to lead us in and lead us through our teachers so that we don't waste a lot of time passing the gavel. And when we're all done, we will go to questions.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Chair. It's my pleasure to be here to bring the Kansas Teacher of the Year team. Just a little bit of information about the Kansas Teacher of the Year process. Any district in the state can nominate an elementary and a secondary representative to be to the Kansas Teacher of the Year program. The districts are divided into 4 regions based on the Kansas congressional districts. Each region then goes through the applications of the teachers that are nominated. They select semifinalists and then finalists, and then they select finalists from each region, 1 elementary and 1 secondary, which go on to the Kansas Teacher of the Year, I guess competition would be the way to say that. And so today before you are the 8 Kansas Teachers of the Year nominees, along with the Kansas Teacher of the Year. They have each prepared statements for you that they will go through. And as Representative Estes talked about, there'll be time for questions at the end. And then without further ado, we will let them start and they'll introduce themselves as they go through.
Good afternoon. My name is Amber Pagan. I am a passionate pre-K teacher in the Shawnee Mission School District and have taught for 19 years. I want to talk with you today about, sorry, they were talking about the blue. Okay, here we go. I want to talk to you today about one of the most important investments we can make in our future, early childhood education. Research shows that children who participate in high-quality early education programs are more likely to succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. They have stronger cognitive abilities, better language skills, and are more prepared for the demands of kindergarten and beyond. Further, Early education has the potential to break the cycle of poverty. It is our moral and economic responsibility to ensure that every child, regardless of their zip code, has access to high-quality, affordable early education. This is not just an investment in our child's future. This is an investment in the future of our state and our nation. Additionally, the partnership between parents and teachers is crucial for a child's growth and success. When both parties are aligned, it creates a strong support system that addresses the child's need both in the classroom and at home. As parents and teachers collaborate, we need to ensure everyone has the tools, resources, and education they need to engage with the child to foster a love of learning and set them up for success. This could mean creating a learning environment at home, engaging in meaningful conversations, and supporting their emotional needs. High-quality early childhood programs can do just that. Early childhood programs provide an opportunity to identify the need for early intervention during these formative years. Children who experience delays in speech, motor skills, or social emotional development are at risk for falling behind. Early intervention services, whether they involve speech therapy, behavioral supports, or developmental assessments, are not only essential for children with disabilities, but for every child at risk of falling behind. When we identify and address these challenges, we reduce the need for more costly special education services later on. Please consider the power of early childhood education, the critical role of parental involvement, and the necessity of early intervention when making budgetary decisions. When we invest in these areas, we are not just helping individual children, we are strengthening our entire state. We are improving graduation rates, reducing crime, increasing workforce productivity, and building a more just and equitable society. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Eckelberry, and I have the privilege of getting to teach first graders at Tecumseh North Elementary in the wonderful Shawnee Heights District. Today, I'd like to talk to you about Devin. Devin has very poor social skills, as he spends as little as time possible with his peers that he has noticed seem to live a very different life than him. Instead, Devin engages in his favorite activity, playing games on his dad's phone. His phone is way better than a friend. His phone doesn't question him, confuse him, or laugh at him when on about things that he's insecure about. His phone just gives him a constant stream of dopamine. And when this dopamine trip is interrupted by worksheets that Devin doesn't understand, he responds in the only way he knows how, which is ripping up his paper and shoving his table away. His teacher is then faced with the impossible choice of stopping to meet the emotional needs of this dysregulated student or meeting the academic needs of the other 20 students in class. What if I told you that there is an efficient, engaging way to directly combat these social and emotional learning struggles while still maintaining our high expectations and academic rigor? I am referring to play. Play is a great way to bridge this insurmountable gap. When we hand students a worksheet, we are saying, practice these skills that will help you someday. When we provide playful learning opportunities and game-based learning for students, we are saying, these engaging skills you are gaining right now are also building important skills that you need later in life. So let's go back and revisit Devin. Instead of staring passively at a screen, picture instead that during some unstructured play at recess time, Devin is playing a silly card bluffing game at recess. It might look like a frivolous activity, but if you study Devin closely, you will see that his social awareness is growing as he meticulously studies his friends' faces for the most subtle changes to try to detect if they are telling the truth. You will also see Devin learn to regulate his emotions when he realizes that throwing his cards when he loses instantly stops the fun that he was having. Thankfully, Devin's teacher is also one of our many excellent Kansas educators. So she has planned some structured play-based learning as well to help Devin grow. The frustrating worksheet that Devin tore up has been replaced instead by a challenge to create a balanced card battling game. Through this, Devin has realized that the hours fly by when he is working on the graphic design of these cards. But what he doesn't realize as readily is that he's also getting so much practice with adding and subtracting in his mathematical skills on base 10, and also the perseverance that it takes to engage in any sort of iterative design process. We have a responsibility to intentionally provide more structured and unstructured play opportunities for students, not to replace serious learning, but to provide serious learning for students. We need to get serious about play because play is serious work. Thank you.
This is a lot different than talking to 7-year-olds, so. Not too different? Okay. My name is Olivia Weingert, and I teach 2nd grade at Cooper Elementary in Derby, Kansas. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak with you today about the wonderful work of our educators across our state. And as a public school teacher, I acknowledge public education as a system that affords every young person, regardless of circumstance, the chance for a rich and fulfilling life. And as a teacher, I have always viewed it as my responsibility to provide the students in my care an expertly designed learning environment that is rooted in best practices and restorative relationships that embolden each of my 2nd graders. And I believe it is our collective duty to ensure that all students in our state receive this same opportunity. So this is what I want you to know about Kansas teachers. Kansas teachers are masterful and are working incredibly hard to prepare students for life beyond the classroom. No matter what age we teach, that is all of our goal. And as a 2nd grade teacher, I am acutely aware of the critical relationship between reading proficiency in the 3rd grade and outcomes later in life. We know that academic achievement in school, and especially literacy proficiency, proficient literacy skills, those serve as protective factors in our students' well-being long after they leave us throughout their lives. And that is especially true for students that are at risk. And so that's a really heavy reality. It's a load we are proud to carry, but it is heavy nonetheless. And when I have students that come to my classroom that are not reading at grade level, that is what keeps me up at night. This is what keeps teachers up at night, because we know what's at stake, and the stakes are really, really high. And that is not lost on me. I know the work that I have that's cut out for me. I do not take that lightly. This is a daily reality for teachers. We feel the weight of every valuable moment of our day to close achievement gaps that often began long before they even came to us. And we work tirelessly to balance the inequities that are in our classrooms and make sure we are doing the best for all kids. I am deeply passionate about evidence-based instruction, and I am so proud of Kansas and so thankful and excited for the work we are doing and the steps that we're taking to invest in structured literacy and empowering our teachers to be experts in their field. We know that there are a lot of things that we can't control in the lives of our students, even though we wish we could. But equipping our schools in our state with expert teachers and high quality instruction, that is a lever we can pull for them. That is within our power. We have the capacity to do that. So let us use our knowledge of best practices in literacy and all subject areas to champion all kids and build those systems and instruction that champion all kids. And let us continue to support our endeavors to empower our teachers to be lifelong learners. Our resolve to persevere in this work is fueled by the hope we have for a better world for our students and the understanding that they truly are depending on us. So we choose this because our students deserve it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Megan Stuckey, and I am a very proud 5th grade elementary school teacher at Roosevelt Elementary, once a bear, always a bear, in McPherson, Kansas. How many of you are tired today? Perhaps exhausted? How many of you maybe worked over your lunch hour and you're getting your hunger pains? How many of you came to work today perhaps with other things on your mind, making this moment hard to focus? I'm asking you these questions today because they're just scratching the surface of social emotional check-ins that teachers all across Kansas and classrooms are doing every single day. We understand the gravity of our work. It's not just about the lessons we teach, the tests we administer, or the assignments we grade. It is about the connections we make. It's about seeing those students, every single one of them, walking through our doors as human beings first. It is about allowing our students to be seen, heard, and valued. We have to have systems in place that allow for human connection with our students so true learning can occur. One of the most valuable things I can share with my students is the knowledge of how their brain works and the power of a growth mindset. We know that learning cannot take place when our students' social and emotional needs are not met. The parts of our brain that make decisions, reasoning, and retain information are shut down. When my students know how their brain works and that their intelligence is not fixed, it's like I've given them the superpower that they had no idea they had. Because of connection, the knowledge of their brain, and the power of a growth mindset, students in my room take more risks. They have more empathy for others. They see failure as opportunities of growth. They have celebrations for the journey of learning that they are on and the gains that they are making. When you come into my classroom, and I hope that you do, my students are digging deep and developing their grit, unlocking their true potential. Our students come to us sometimes broken, disconnected, and with every lesson, every moment of encouragement, we help them rediscover their own worth, their own potential. We see their growth even when they don't see it in themselves. We watch their lives change for the better because we choose to be teachers, because we believe in them. From the start of the day, checking in, making connections as human beings. We are a profession that has this gift of investing in the lives of young people who have the greatest potential to do good and to see the good in others. Every single day, we hold this responsibility of nurturing that potential. While we work hard to invest in our students every day, we ask you to invest in us as teachers. Invest in our schools, invest in our communities. This is no small task for any of us, and yet, here we are. We choose this profession, and we choose it with everything we have. Now more than ever, we must set the intention to be gritty Kansas teachers. We have to choose together to invest in our students. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'll step back because I got a big voice. My name is Eric Stone, and I am the proud band director, elementary music educator, and digital media and marketing teacher at Gordon Parks Academy in Wichita. I grew up watching my grandma advocate for education as a school board member, and she ended her 10-year presidential term handing me my high school diploma. I was able to watch my mom in her crusade in our district as our school nurse. I observed her love every student, every employee in the building, and the community that surrounded us. And it has shaped me as the educator I am today, working so hard to create safe spaces for kids. In today's complex world, education is no longer about a transfer of knowledge, but it's also about the relationships that support student success. academic success in schools is valid, but it is also equally as valid that a student has the ability to create meaningful relationships so they can have the most powerful success that they can achieve. At Gordon Parks Academy, we echo the Capturing Kids' Hearts mantra: if you capture their heart, you capture their mind. When student relationships are prioritized, they are more actively engaged in their learning and are brave when asking for help or sharing about their experiences. Let's take Tia, for example. Her name's not Tia. But Tia is an excited student. She's a band kid, she's a Suco kid, she's an Avid kid, she's a K-Cup kid, she's a photojournalist on the yearbook staff. She also works in the daily morning announcement news. She is everywhere. She's the legacy at Gordon Parks Academy. Sounds very good, right? Well, during a class project, Tia felt safe enough to share with me and our class that for the past 6 months, that her family had primarily been living in her mom's car. They were homeless. Mom running away from an abusive partner of her and her children. If you would take a look at Tia, you would have never guessed that this was the case. Her infectious smile and positive attitude still intact. And the support and love that Tia found in her school community is crucial to that success. Tia takes her skills of perseverance and applies it to the rest of her academics, ensuring success no matter the circumstances. Sadly, her story is not unique, but rather her response to her trauma is extraordinary. Without Tia's positive relationships that she found in school, this could have been a very different story for Tia. Students who are loved and supported and feel safe at home come to school ready to learn. Students who do not feel love, support, or safety come to school looking for it. By prioritizing relational capacity, we have an opportunity to create environments where students feel valued, supported, and empowered to reach their fullest potential. It is time for us to recognize the significance that relationships play in education and take proactive steps to make our schools feel safe and promote our students' success. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Whitney Aves, and I teach Family and Consumer Sciences at Hutchinson High School. Many of you likely have fond memories of learning to cook or sew in a home economics classroom years ago. While the name has changed, the curriculum is still alive and well, but updated for today's learners. Today, Family and Consumer Sciences has found a home in career and technical education where we equip students not only with those important adulting life skills, but also employability skills. As teachers, we have seen some of the worst case scenarios of the homes that some of our students come from. Even in the best of situations, Kansas families still struggle with the demands of family life. Someday, in the not too far off future, the teenagers sitting in my classroom will lead those families and take on the role of parents and spouses. The mission of Family and Consumer Sciences has always been to develop life skills so that our students can lead better lives, be work and career ready, and build strong families. As Ronald Reagan once said, all great change in America begins at the dinner table. In FCS classes, students learn to manage household budgets, juggle work-life balance, prepare nutritious meals, and nurture the growth and development of their future families. These essential skills taught in family and consumer sciences can enable them to cultivate healthy, strong families, which in turn strengthen communities across Kansas, and perhaps break the cycles that can hold many of our students and families back. Preparing students for family life and independent living is just as important as preparing them for professional success. Both require problem-solving, communication, and creativity. In my classroom, students earn industry-recognized certifications in food safety and childcare that enhance their resumes and get them in the door with future employers. They participate in hands-on learning experiences such as catering events for our local Chamber of Commerce, planning interactive lessons for preschoolers, and even caring for a robotic baby for an entire weekend, where they learn the trials and tribulations that come along with parenting. I provide my students with cross-curricular lessons as we apply math to recipe production and chemistry to baking. They leave my classroom with valuable skills that prepare them for careers in a wide variety of areas. I am incredibly proud of the work I do alongside hundreds of other FCS teachers across the state. Together, we are preparing students not just for post-secondary success, but for lives filled with purpose and impact. With continued support for family and consumer sciences through CTE funding, we can continue making a difference, one dinner table at a time. Thank you.
First off, I'd like to say thank you for allowing our team to come and speak to you today about the passions that we have in education. I'd like to ask you all a question. Shop class. Is it an elective or a segue to a career? My name is Ryan Mellick, and I've been teaching shop for the last 17 years. And of those 17, 11 of them have been in the state of Kansas working for Bonner Springs. My passion in education is watching the light bulb go on when a student understands what's being taught, or when they finally get what's going on. Teaching shop, or what others may call project-based learning, is an easy way for me to see the lights come on for the students. What is it about shop class that draws me in? It's knowing that I am teaching the students a skill nobody can take away. Austin, a former student of mine, came back to tell me thanks after he graduated. He was so thankful for taking shop class because it had led him to a job in HVAC, which then transferred over to a career with Atmos Gas. I asked him what he meant by this, and he said he had never thought about a job working with his hands until he took a shop class where we always worked with our hands. He is so excited to be doing something that he loves now. What does a PBL class teach? Shop classes teach craftsmanship, pride in their work, thinking on the fly, and problem solving. Currently, my students are building a tiny playhouse. The lessons are taught on what the students need to do, and then they go do it. But when something goes wrong, I let the students sit and figure it out. We learn from our failures. Project-based learning classes allow this to happen. It also depends on how I address the mistake the students have made. I can be mad at the students because they have ruined an $80 piece of siding. Or I can ask them what went wrong, how would they fix it, before giving them a new piece to move forward. Learning happens when we're having fun. English, science, and math are all woven into shop class. Students see science happening before their eyes with expanding foam, insulation. Students use English to read the directions on the back of the can of chemicals. All these skills help the students become better employees and/or college students. Showing students a skill nobody can take away is a true passion of mine. This passion is made possible through project-based learning. Remember, shop class, it is not an elective class, but it is a career opportunity. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, distinguished legislators. Thank you for the honor of speaking with you today. My name is Elizabeth Anstein, and I've been instructing and teaching business marketing, entrepreneurship, management, and finance classes at Leavenworth High School for the past 14 years, along with many other responsibilities. I want to spotlight public educators' incredible value and impact. because in the past few years, the challenges have been immense. But so has the dedication of our teachers. Unless you've stood in a classroom recently, it's hard to grasp the extraordinary passion, resilience, and tireless effort educators pour into their students daily. The commitment of many teachers, especially those here with me today, is nothing short of heroic. I invite you to step into a 47-minute high school classroom with 35 students, a snapshot of the daily realities educators face. 5 students have 504 plans, 2 have IEPs, 1 just returned from a 4-month expulsion, while another arrived late from a therapy session. Midway through class, a student leaves for an appointment, a pregnant student asks how she can catch up on missed work, and another student asks for a letter of recommendation for a scholarship. Meanwhile, a heated, inappropriate conversation erupts over a social media crisis. Every student has a unique need, and in that short time, we are not just instructors. We are counselors, mediators, problem solvers, and mentors, all while ensuring learning still happens. The single class period vividly depicts our students' emotional, academic, and social challenges. It highlights our incredible responsibility as educators to meet each student where they are, providing knowledge, support, and understanding. That's why creating real-world learning opportunities is so critical. These experiences equip students with essential skills and give them purpose and relevance in helping them navigate and overcome challenges while preparing for life beyond the classroom. I've seen firsthand how real-world opportunities dramatically enhance student attendance, achievement, and career readiness. Before transitioning into education, I spent over 15 years in an international corporate marketing role as we launched the internet. I couldn't have imagined that career while I was in high school because we didn't even know what the internet was. Today, we face a similar challenge, preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist. The key to meeting the challenge lies in exposing students to a real-world learning opportunity, giving students the chance to build essential skills like adaptability, creativity, and collaboration prepares them to succeed in any career path they choose, even those yet to be imagined. Work-based experiences such as school-based enterprises, internships, job shadows, and partnerships with local businesses create an environment where students can learn and thrive. My students don't just learn about business, they run them. These businesses, which serve as hands-on learning labs, include a spirit wear and accessory shop, a coffee and smoothie shop, a print and embroidery shop, and within the last 30 days, a freeze-dried candy company. Through these ventures, students develop critical skills such as managing budgets, inventory, and accounting, creating graphic designs, coordinating with vendors, and handling human resource responsibilities. Students also gain expertise in marketing, advertising, social media management, and delivering exceptional customer service. Ultimately, the students are challenged to create sustainable businesses by making strategic decisions on reinvesting their profits into business improvements, ensuring long-term growth and success. These experiences also prepare students to contribute to Kansas's economy as skilled, innovative professionals. Expanding work-based learning initiatives is an investment in Kansas's future. I'd like to leave you with this. If you haven't been in a classroom in the last few years, I urge you to take the time to experience it firsthand. Step into a classroom, talk with the students, and witness the passion, creativity, and determination that define today's educators and learners. This year's Kansas Teacher of the Year team is represented by schools in McPherson, Bonner Springs, Derby, Hutchinson, Tecumseh, Wichita, Shawnee Mission, and Leavenworth. But incredible teachers are making an impact in every corner of the state. Teachers across the state welcome you with open arms, ready to show you the transformative work that is happening every single day. Education is most powerful when it is a shared mission. Let's work together to continue building a brighter future for every Kansas student, every Kansas community, and for the state we all love. On behalf of the 2025 Kansas Teacher of the Year team, we invite you into our classrooms, and we thank you for everything you are doing to support public education. Thank you. We would like to open it up for questions if you have questions for us.
Thank you. You may have a seat. And I am going to begin with the Senate and then to the House and back and forth and ask questions. I know the Senate has to be on the floor soon, so I think succinct questions help everyone get a shot at the apple. Senator Gossage.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here. As a former classroom teacher, this is very dear to my heart. Hearing your stories, it's hard for us not to come to tears, as somebody already did who went up to the podium. No, that's okay. I first of all want to say, what an eclectic group. You know, it's not just the math teacher, not just the elementary teacher, the reading teacher. It's from all across the spectrum, all across the state. And I just want to say, I personally applaud you and congratulations on your award. So my question is, how, and anybody can answer, how did you find out that you received this honor?
Originally, I was nominated for it from a family, and so after my building announced at like a staff meeting that I had won, and then my district personnel came in and told me that I had won for the district. So that is how I found out.
Thank you very much. Do we have a question from a House member? Representative Stogsdill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for being here today. I too taught for 7 years in Shawnee Mission, second grade, and I also taught graduate students at K-State. I used the same techniques with both of them. It worked. On a serious note, I'm very concerned about the fact that we had several hundred vacancies last year in the teaching profession, and we're having them again this year. And other than salary raises, which you all deserve, in my opinion, significant salary raises, are there any other things that you can think of that the state could be doing that would allow us to attract and retain the excellent quality teachers like you all?
We've worked as a team a little bit, and I've worked with some other teachers that are wanting to retire early to come up with what are some of the things we could be doing. One of the things we're doing is traveling across Kansas, letting people know that are in the education world and colleges getting ready to get these degrees, that teaching is a noble profession, and that we need them, and that we're here to support them. I think some of the things that we could be doing is having people within schools lead their departments, lead their grade levels, maybe get paid a little bit more to help lead them and become mentors for that grade level, so that that grade level, every single teacher feels like they belong there and they want to stay there. Teachers don't feel supported in many districts right now, and that's tough because it's hard to support when you've got a plethora of new teachers coming in. It's a lot of work to support new teachers. It's difficult to manage a classroom with all of the issues that we're dealing with, and they don't know how to do that when they get there. So they get flustered and they want to leave because we've not been there to help them and mentor them. So I think stronger mentorship programs, but also finding that right person within each group or age group, or maybe CTE or music or English at the high school level by what you teach, finding somebody that's really going to mentor that department as opposed to just one teacher at a time.
Great. It's a great suggestion. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Senator Argabright.
Wow. It's an honor to be in front of some dignitaries. Very proud of all of you. Thank you for what you do for kids. Make sure you tell all of your staff thank you. It's a long day in the classroom, and sometimes we don't tell you enough that we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Representative Pishney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, first of all, thank you for what you do. It is a noble profession for you. You create, or not create, excuse me, you produce doctors and attorneys and welders and all sorts of people through what you do. So thank you for that. And I appreciate you spreading the word that it is a noble profession. My question is, and I don't want someone to think I'm stepping on toes or take offense, Dr. Norwood, or, yeah. But my question is based on a subject that we've been hearing about in House education for a number of days with regard to literacy. And somebody, I don't remember which one of you touched on that, but somebody touched on the literacy. And my question is this: I am one that doesn't care so much about the means of getting there. I'm focused on the results, as long as those means are not illegal and imprudent or unethical. So we are being asked as legislators, and this is my first year in the legislature, so I may be missing things, to produce things statewide for all the school districts with regard to blueprint for literacy and so these kinds of things. And then I've asked the question on our committee, how do we reward the ones that are attaining success? So I would be interested in someone speaking to the literacy question, and should it be something that we in the Capitol are mandating, or not mandating maybe so much, but producing the means for how to get there with the literacy? And secondly, how do we reward the school districts, the classrooms, to really highlight the ones that are producing the right results, and we show that to the rest of the state, that they might borrow some of those ideas? So I would be interested in someone addressing that. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the teachers who are here.
I can speak to the first part of your question. There has been, we call them the reading wars, for decades and decades and decades of the right ways to approach literacy, the means to get there. Thankfully, we are in a time where we have that information. We are really, really invested. We are taking the right steps in our state to make sure that we are teaching in ways that are backed by science. We are taking the wonderful letters training, which is transformative for teachers. And we're seeing it happen in our classrooms. We're starting to do things at the tier 1 level, at the whole class level, best practices there to mitigate those needs to have further interventions. We're addressing it because we know that what is good for kids that are at risk or that struggle is good practice for all kids. So I really think, as far as the means, I feel very strongly about the means that we need to take, and I think we are doing the right work with structured literacy. And there are many parts to that, and there are things that I've learned a lot along the way, and I can honestly say when I first started teaching and didn't know those things, I have regrets about things that, I wasn't able to do in the classroom just because I didn't know. And so I'm really happy that we're empowering teachers to do that. As far as the next question, which I think is extremely complex, I'm not going to speak on that.
Okay, I will move to Ranking Senator Sykes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for being here. This is one of the highlights of the session, to get to hear from you. My question, Senator or Representative Stogsdale talked about, what can the legislature do to help with teacher retention and things. But what would you say to our students who are out there who are considering a career? I mean, you all are the exemplary, you are the best of the best. And I know, as I have researched the teacher that I get to present on, her kids love her. And I know your kids love you. But what would you say to those students who are thinking about being a teacher? Why would you encourage them to take this path? And any of you can answer it.
Megan. Yeah, we all looked at
This is Megan's jam.
Well, I would rap for you, but I've been told that's not professional, so I'm going to keep my raps to myself. Your question of if a fifth grader came up to me today and said, Mrs. Stuckey, I'm thinking about being a teacher, I would say, awesome. Thank you. It will never disappoint. I think the teaching profession gives back in so many other ways, and we need them. And it's a calling. I think it stirs in them when they're young. It did in many of us. And I think we're all teachers in some capacity. And so if a student did come up to me and ask me that, I would say, awesome. Keep it up. Dig deep. There is greatness within. See, I'm going to start rapping, so I probably should get off. But I think that would be amazing. We don't get that very often. So if they did, I would say, go tell your friends. Share the good news that you want to be a teacher. So thanks for the question. Thanks, guys.
Representative Brantley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to say congratulations to each one of you. What an honor. I'm going to take a little bit of a different turn, kind of piggybacking on what you just said. I was just blessed to have a 90-day experience teaching third grade, and I haven't been in a classroom for 20 years. But I want to challenge you. I had some students of my former elementary students in my classroom now as their children. I want to spark you to that challenge of encouraging your students to become educators and share this experience and excellence with those early pre-service teachers that you come across, and just spark that piece of excellence and keep going. Don't quit here. Keep going. Congratulations.
Senator Petty.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for being here. It's having been an educator, it's exciting to see educator here. It's especially exciting to see Eric, because I knew his grandmother. I actually worked with his mother, so it was great to see him. So we've asked these variety of great questions, but I'd like for you to think about. The question was asked about, how do we get people in this in the classroom? Can you maybe elaborate on what you think we are doing right in Kansas and how we can build on that?
They're looking at me like, oh crap.
And I've also had the pleasure of being to your work site as well.
Kansas is doing a lot of things that people don't realize. The way that you're supporting us in the offering the mental health for students, which then also helps us out as teachers, because we're able to send a student that way, which then us as teachers are not dealing with that, or we have that access and we're able to learn different ways to help that student cope as well. It's the way that you are training our superintendents and our higher ups, giving them the information to then better help us lead, because we are the face of the education in the classroom, but the people above us are helping us out. And by you giving the people above us a hand, you're helping us out indirectly, but it is very much directly help. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you. We, our honorees need to be on the Senate floor, so we have our last question from Senator Erickson, although if I got to ask another one, I'd let Eric brag on Gordon Parks going to France this summer. But Senator Erickson, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to having a little ceremony and recognition on the Senate floor here shortly. My question is a little bit lighter. And as a former school principal, please keep it appropriate. What would your students be surprised to learn about you?
Well, I am a cooking teacher and a baking and pastry teacher, and they would be surprised to know that I hate going to the grocery store. And a lot of times after working all week, giving my all to them in our kitchens at school, I make a lot of Kraft mac and cheese at home for my own children. It's just the way it goes sometimes. And so I think they would be surprised to hear that they get my best sometimes and my family gets some of the air fryer meals.
So we share in common the dislike of shopping, and my husband is the grocery shopper in our house. That one went a little faster than we thought. Representative Featherston, is yours a quick one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering if you could discuss briefly, since you're in a rush, what universal free lunches could do for your kids, or at least eliminating reduced price lunches and making those free.
I think I alluded to it in my testimony earlier, that whenever students feel safe, and that also means when my students are not always feeling hungry, they feel more prepared to take on academic challenges as well as the social challenges that we see today in schools. When a student shows up less hungry, they're less irritable. When they're less, and whenever they feel like they're less irritable, they have an ability to keep those barriers down where they can interact with peers, and they can interact with their educators, and they can continue to learn new content as well as be able to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Very quick.
No learning can occur if that is not met, and also alleviates stress on families, which alleviates stress on children. So.
And Senator Erickson has an announcement.
Yes, before we go down to the floor, Senators, quickly, this reminded me a little bit of like a Miss America, you know, and thank goodness there's not a swimsuit portion of the competition, although I think you guys would fare better than I would. But Senators, remember tomorrow we have our hearing for the Board of Regents nominee. Please bring those packets, those confidential packets with you to committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I am just impressed with all of you guys, and I thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today. You truly, this is always a highlight for us, and you're also one of the most bonded groups we've ever had. You guys all do get along very well, you share that, but you're even more so than your past ones. So, Michelle, please make note of who's on WebEx for attendance, and with that, we are adjourned.